Hello and welcome back to another video on the rest and to another edition of AEW Dynamite. The Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament kicked off Wednesday's Dynamite, forcing AEW World Champion MJF to partner with rival Adam Cole. The match was headlined with a broadcast that also featured the latest Stoneheart Memorial Women's Tournament and scathing remarks from former World Champions Moxley and Jericho. So let's get straight into it. And we start things off, like I say, with that Blind Eliminator Tournament. Darby and Orange Cassidy teaming up against Swerve and Our Glory reunited. And yeah, for one night at least, Strickland and Lee dominated early on, thanks in part to the fury of the latter. However, it was a babyface comeback and a moment of miscommunication that allowed Cassidy and Ireland to score the pin. This was a good fast-paced match and saw the continued in-ring chemistry of Cassidy and Ireland and Strickland, plus their power-based offense, and Lee was totally into it too. The result was a strong contest to kick off the match, and yeah, in a weird way, I am enjoying this tournament, at least in the most part. Bring back some old memories. So yeah, it gets 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, solid start to Dynamite, really enjoyable. Good to see Swerve and Our Glory reunited, but yeah, I think overall the right position to win. Before we got some feedback, it's involving Nick Wayne, which yeah, very excited to see him debut, and then Hook attacking Jungle Boy as well, with heel now escaping, which is all going to lead up to something. And yeah, kind of slowly going into that storyline before it's time for the Acclaim versus the Blade and the Bollywood Boys. It's basically extending and enhancing the match. The segment was less about the match and more about winning from Hardy Cameron to the victorious trio, continuing what is a budding rivalry. Not necessarily a good one at this point, but a rivalry nonetheless. And it feels like the Acclaim have really cooled down, and I want them to do a bit more, to be honest, when they were getting big pops. And yeah, I hope they get something new, but unfortunately this for me has to get a 5 out of 10 from me. We then got a comment about Kingston winning the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, which was a great thing for him before Moxley was told on the phone to him. But anyway, Don Callis played out on prior history with Jericho as he marched the ring, interrupting the Ochos promo and offering a spot on the family, toying with the idea of recreating himself one more time. Jericho responds simply with a maybe. The unanswered question will continue to cliffhanger, which will give renewed interest to the veteran after he becomes somewhat stale. It also presumably puts Callis in the middle of the feud with the Elite and Jericho in there as well. This is unsurprising and incredibly smart as Jericho finds ways to reinvent himself. This ends with him either creating a union with Callis or it sees him becomes an enormous babyface. And yeah, it's going to be either way. Very interesting to see where it goes. And yeah, I definitely have to say, very interesting. But leaving a cliffhanger, can't wait to hear it goes. But it's then time for Adam Cole and MJF versus the Butcher and Duddy Magic. Adam Cole may be eyeing the World Championship before they inevitably clash for the top prize. They teamed up in this, and yeah, it was great. Duddy Magic and the Butcher were competent competition, nearly knocking them off. But after the match, MJF wished Cole a happy birthday and ended up with cake in his face to celebrate number one title, number one contender. MJF are actually trying to buddy up with Cole. It was great because it's totally and it also suggests he's still a dude who just wants to be liked. It was also a matter of time before he betrays Cole, but until then, there's been much more fun to be expected. And yeah, this is really good. My sort of wrestling. Really entertaining from start to finish. Can't wait to see where this goes. Yeah, they just have such great chemistry together. It gets 8 out of 10 for me. Great stuff. But it's in time for the Owen Hart Women's Tournament. Britt Baker taking on Ruby Soho. There'll be no repeat winner in this year's Owen Hart Memorial Women's Tournament. Thanks to the incessant interference from the Outcasts, Ruby Soho eliminated Britt Baker. There was a ton of interference from Saraya and Toni Storm as the reach to finish with a clever callback to last year's finish involving a vitriol. This was really crisp and clean, but Baker was booked as strongly as any babyface had been in AEW. She looked like a world beater moments from overcoming 3 women, only to be denied at the last second by an undetected chicanery. Soho advances to battle Sky Blue, who has to be considered as one of the favourites in the competition. However, Baker can prove integral in preventing a repeat of this week's result. But yeah, I mean, it gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Yeah, good little match this. I'm surprised it happened so early on from, still a high profile match. Kind of feels like the same sort of stuff we've seen over and over again with these two. So yeah, I don't know, it gets 6 out of 10 for me, but it's interesting to see who the winner is now. But yeah, this wasn't bad. It was then time for Kenny Omega v Wheelie Yuta, with the Elite member getting the victory, and Yuta overcoming his potentially serious head and neck injuries, not to mention interference from Don Callis and Takeshita to get the win. The booking here felt a bit in your face, with Omega doing his best impression of classic heel in WWE by overcoming all the odds and still picking on the win. It's a joke that AEW has been wise to avoid for the most part, which made one stand out here all the more. Would it really hurt you to score a signature win by exploiting injuries and giving Omega an out? If there was one major complaint, it was the timing issues in the post-match stuff, which saw the Elite make the save for Omega, only for the Dark Order to show up and pull a chair away from Hangman Page. It's clear that AEW have introduced Dark Order here as a side story for Page, but it completely undermined them until by making them an afterthought in closing moments. It was not the typical see what happens next week finish that builds suspense, but rather one that feels AEW mistimed the show and the conclusion. That cannot happen. But I still enjoyed the match for what it was, but yeah, it just could have been so much better. So maybe the potential to be 8, even a 9 out of 10, but yeah, I guess 7 out of 10 from me. Overall this week, Dynamite gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, on the whole, I thought it was a pretty decent Dynamite. Obviously, kind of dominated by these 2 tournaments going on at the moment, coinciding. But yeah, on the whole, I thought it was a decent enough show, decent match finish as well, even if it could have been better. And yeah, stuff with Cole and MJF was just absolutely brilliant. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching this. Like, subscribe, let me know what's coming over. Daily wrestling is greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.